Hello, everybody. Welcome back to More Political Excess. Today, let's cover California's upcoming primary. Now, that'll be on June 7th. There are no primaries this Tuesday, but June 7th has primaries also in Iowa, Mississippi, Montana, New Jersey, New Mexico, and South Dakota. But today, let's just focus on California. A couple other races to highlight are the special election in the 22nd district. That is also on June 7th, and I covered the primary a couple of months ago. And there's also a recall election for the San Francisco District Attorney. It's also on the 7th. I'll cover those a little bit more in a separate video. Now, California, it's the biggest state, and there's, of course, the most number of elections. But I also think it's one of the least compelling states to follow for elections, as it's such a lopsided state in terms of politics. So there's not going to be a whole lot of detail to go into, even though there are a lot of races. But let's try to jump into it here. Now, California has a top two primary system, so the top two vote getters, regardless of party, they go on to the general. There is no runoff. So let's start in the House. Now, on my redistricting map analysis, I had said there is only 6 GOP-leaning districts. It actually appears that there's 8, so that is a rare oversight for me. However, I still think the Republicans are really coming up short on this House map. Even at 8 districts, they won a third of the vote last cycle, and they're going to have maybe a fifth of the seats. So I don't think that's fair at all. So I do think the Republicans should have at least 3 to 4 more seats in their favor. They don't have many safe seats, and a lot of their seats are marginal. So let's go through the House seats. There's not many to point out that I find to be overly interesting. I think if the Republicans have a phenomenal, legendary year, they could maybe pick up 4 seats, but I think that's way too optimistic. I think realistically they could pick up 0 to 1 seats, and this isn't a favorable environment. Actually, the Republicans are looking like they have to defend some seats here, and those are the seats I want to highlight. So in the 22nd district, David Valadao, his district got a lot bluer. He's in danger of losing. This race is rated as a toss-up now. That might be too optimistic for me, even in this environment. So that's 1 seat the Democrats could definitely pick up. And then in the 27th district, the new 27th district, Mike Garcia, his district got bluer. He's running again. It appears to be a rematch between him and Christy Smith. That's 1. It's going to be tough to hold. He might be able to do it this year, but in another year, he certainly might go down. And in the 45th district, Michelle Steele, the incumbent Republican, she's going to have a tough time holding on. She could probably do it again in this environment, but it's not going to be the easiest thing in the world. So those are the 3 main seats I want to watch. There's other ones, of course, but those are the 3 I want to point out. So let's move on to the statewide races. The biggest one is governor, and this race, as with all of the statewide races, there's normally a good amount to say. There's just not with California. And Gavin Newsom, he won the recall last year. He's poised to win again. Maybe it's by a reduced margin. Either way, I don't see him losing, barring some colossal scandal. I think that in a vacuum, California voters don't particularly like Gavin Newsom, but come election time, they end up voting for him. Probably because they might fear what would happen if they didn't. So there's only 1 poll here, and the Republicans, they're all over the place. They have no bench, no contenders. I don't find this to be interesting at all. Maybe something emerges in the last week, but probably it will be some minor opposition Republican that Gavin Newsom will go up against in the fall. So the other statewide races, there is a special election for U.S. Senate. Alex Padilla, he was appointed. He's facing an election here. I don't see anything interesting happening with the Republicans. Same with all the other statewide races: insurance commissioner, attorney general, controller, treasurer, secretary of state. Feel free to look at those if you'd like, if you're from that area. But if something crazy happens, I'll cover it then. As of now, it's going to be all Democrats all the way. Only question will be, have the Republicans bottomed out in California, and could they maybe start to claw their way up from the absolute bottom? So it'll be all about the margins. But that's it for California, with one more exception. I'll throw in here The Los Angeles mayor's race, that primary is also happening on June 7th. Now, that actually seems to be a much more compelling race than any of the other ones, as former Congresswoman Karen Bass, she was kind of walking away with it for a while, but businessman Rick Caruso appears to have at least caught up to her. Maybe he's passed her. The polling, the markets, they show this being neck and neck. So that's going to be probably the more interesting race to watch out of all of these. But anyway, that's a look at California. If you have any comments on any of these races, there's a ton of them. If I'm missing something, let me know in the comments down below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.